Hello and welcome back, Toonami Faithful. Welcome back aboard Toonami Absolution. We are so excited to see you and talk about the shows that made us us and the shows that made you you. Once again, we are your hosts. My name is Alex.
I'm Sam.
And I'm John, and our second week movie is Gundam Wing Endless Waltz.
Boy band Gundam.
This is a movie.
I
It
think
is a
was I the
film.
one that was I the one that was pushing for this one?
I
You
think
pushed for
I
Endless
think you
Waltz. Yeah.
did.
Yeah, and I think the my rationale was like, Robotech and other big other big mecha anime was so crucial to the early years of Gundam. I want to say Endless Waltz was one of the first, if not the first, special movie presentations on Toonami. Um, And it's also probably the first, without knowing it at the time, it was the first anime compilation film I ever saw.
Yeah.
Because, and it's one of the early ones because I didn't know the idea that you would package multiple episodes or specials into feature-length things. And that's exactly what Endless Waltz is.
So, yes, some context. Gundam Wing was a big show for Toonami in general. It was one that launched Adult Swim effectively as well. Basically, Bandai approached Toonami and said, "Hey, we want to launch Gundam in America. We have this new show called Wing. Would you like it?" Toonami said, "Hell yeah, we would like it," because a lot of the guys from who were sort of on Toonami were Gundam fans. And then, yeah, so Gundam Wing. This is from March 15th, 2000. Gundam's Wing average rating is consistently beating Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon in all age categories. And as for teen ratings, Gundam Wing is meant to maintain its number one position, not just on the Toonami block, but against the entire Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
Gundam Wing did what Dragon Ball took 6 months to do in a week.
Yeah.
And yeah, when Endless Waltz made its premiere on November 2000, it became Cartoon Network's highest viewed show ever, and that was only beaten by the season 4 premiere of Dragon Ball Z. This was
I
big deal.
I have a theory about Gundam Wing in the same way that I have a theory about a lot of anime. And it's going to be controversial. But when you put sexy men in shows who have ambiguous relationships and you corner that female demographic market, that is going to make your show explode. And Gundam Wing was a lot of people's baby's first yaoi. Like, I'm not going to lie to you, that was baby's first yaoi for a lot of people.
There's a lot of tension. I don't think you could call it subtext from Endless Wing. I think it's just text.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it's
It's more,
text.
yeah, yeah. If Amuro Ray and Char Aznable are subtext, what we see here with Hero in it, it's just like, oh, they're okay, okay. That's the
Like,
Endless Waltz.
that's the endless waltz.
The three beats of boys kissing, boys dancing, and boys
But
that's being blurred.
it
Yeah.
is it is worth mentioning that because I do think that there is a, especially when you're talking about a bunch of other series, and like you can make the argument for Yu Yu Hakusho, you can make the argument for a lot of shows, but boy band Gundam
Oh,
specifically, it's yaoi bait. It is made for that hero and duo. You have Troa and Quatre, and then you have Wu Fei, who is like not involved in the plot at all. I have no idea what is the point of him at most of the time.
Yeah, we should
But
explain there's some weirdness with this plot in general because when Endless Waltz came out in Japan in 1997, it was a series of OVAs, 325-minute ones. Then in
yeah.
98, they made a feature film called Endless Waltz Special Edition, which combined them all and added a load of new scenes. Special Edition answers a lot of the questions that you'd have watching the OVAs by actually linking episodes together and explaining what goes on. Toonami didn't show that. This is a different version that they have made by cutting the OVAs together, which runs for 80 minutes. This is why you'll see the title cards come in and out if you're watching the Toonami off TV recording.
Yeah.
They, it's a bit weird. Yeah, it does leave some stuff on the table, which I'm quite sad about. There's a couple of moments I think really needed. My personal favorite one is Sally with her gas grenades, her
yeah,
short range gas grenades. But the bit with Dorothy, they cut out, I never understood that. So very near the end of this film, they have this big thing of Dorothy goes and starts insulting people to be like, "You're going to let these people do this to you? You're going to go fight?" And the people go, "Yeah, we're going to go fight." And it's so weird that moment isn't in the OVAs because I think it's really crucial to sort of the message of this is that
Yeah.
peace is earned, and it's like they just appear like, okay, thanks,
just
Sunrise.
to just to give you a little peek behind the Alyx curtain for a second, I had a massive addiction to Gunpla for a certain point in my life. Just Hi, my name is Alex, and I'm addicted to Gunpla. And the granddaddy Gunpla that to this day I can't justify dropping the $350 I would have to drop is the Wing Gundam Endless Waltz Perfect Gundam
Yes.
kit.
Oh,
You see it at every anime or comic book convention you go to. It always sells for $350 to $500. It's ginormous, but it is one of the most beautiful Gundam kits. And I think Gundam Wing specifically had such great designs for their main Gundams. Like Heavy Arms, Death Scythe is so iconic as a Gundam design, but it also begs the question as to why Gundams have melee weapons when Heavy Arms is right there. I feel like
Yeah,
it's a fair
well,
question.
they kind of explain it in the original.
They do kind
It's
of, but they
because
don't
of the
explain it in
radiation.
Wing.
No, they
yeah,
don't. But that's yeah. Wing's interesting to me because it's kind of that middle place of Gundam where it's not the very plain, pure military tech you're seeing in the original Gundam, but it's not yet build fighters. Like the mechs have personality and gimmicks, but it's not like they're not the bear guys haven't arrived yet.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
not G Gundam yet.
Yeah,
G
not
Gundam, yeah, it hasn't tournament shonen tournament style Gundam yet.
we've
You
there's
know,
no
Tequila Gundam.
windmills.
Yeah,
There's no Gundam that's a cactus and a sombrero.
yeah. The other oh God, the other reason why I wanted to do Endless Waltz is because Sunrise plays a huge role, I think, with early Toonami and early Adult Swim. It's also like one of the darker and moodier Gundam shows at that time. Which I appreciate. It kind of there's definitely more of an atmosphere to it and more of a sense of peril and menace than you would get with Mobile Suit or any of the earlier
Oh
Gundam
yeah.
shows. Like it
I mean,
leveled.
It, what was your first Gundam series?
It was G. It was actually G. Um, just
Man, that had to be
hand of
confusing
mine is
going to
burning red. Yeah. And of
Outcry
course,
tells me to defeat you.
yeah, Master Asia, all that stuff. I would go back to play mobile or not play, but watch Mobile Suit and Gundam Wing and what was it? Zero, that was another one. Um I one of the few games I've got every single achievement for on Xbox is uh uh Gundam Warriors. Like
oh,
Oh, so you're the Gundam guy.
I'm like or Dynasty Warriors Gundam. That's the yeah.
yeah, okay.
I don't know if I'm the Gundam guy. There's like does literal dozens of Gundam Gundam shows. I
That's
haven't
true.
seen all of them, but I've seen enough to know what I like. And
How
I
about you,
like Endless
John?
Waltz. I like Endless
I
Waltz.
don't actually know. That's my thing. I actually don't know what Gundam is because I have distinct memories of seeing suits from stuff that I then found out later on were never brought to the US or the UK. So I don't know how I saw them. So I'm not sure if like maybe they were shown some weird thing on TV at some point, or if I ended up with on DVD or referencing something. But like some of the later stuff, I remember seeing them. I remember seeing stuff like some of not the G but the Night Gundam stuff, which never got released. Like I'm not sure how I saw that as a kid.
You were clairvoyant.
I have prophetic visions of Gundams.
Yeah.
No, it's interesting to me because my first Gundam was Gundam Wing. Like Gundam Wing was my introduction to the Gundam franchise, and Endless Waltz is a it is an encapsulation of that story that I appreciate. It's not my favorite Gundam. My favorite Gundam is 008,
Yeah.
or 8th MS Team, rather, which is Vietnam War Gundam, which I really genuinely enjoy. But Gundam Wing just has Gundam Wing, I think, really kicked off the mecha craze in the West. Like,
Oh,
it
yeah,
had to.
it 100% did. No, even Bandai will tell you that. Like literally, we'll get to this when we cover Wing, but within a few months of Wing airing, Bandai signed like 100 new partnerships for toys. And the year I was just going to ask you if you were around for Gundam Wing, did you ever see the massive truck they drove around the US? Yeah,
Yep.
that was the year after Wing. Literally, they was like, Wing is so big, we are going to go to every American city with a massive Gundam truck to be like, buy our stuff.
Mm.
It,
I
it,
mean, yeah.
it
Yeah.
just saved them. Like the original films had come out in the US, but they had been just flops. They'd been considered terrible. They hadn't made an impact.
And it was kind of like it's weird because the foundation, the possibility was always there. Obviously, the Power Rangers formed Megazords. Obviously, we had, Voltron.
Voltron,
Voltron was a presence, like all of these
Transformers.
Transformers, like all everything you would need to set the foundation for Gundam's success was already in place.
I
And
honestly think it was the boundary between Super Robot and Real Robot.
yeah,
American had
Mm,
Super Robot, but I don't think networks were ready for Real Robot yet. I think it's the thing of I think it's amazing with Gundam Wing when you look at it now is even in this. So we should talk about this a bit. Endless Waltz was shown twice. Not Endless Waltz, sorry. Wing was shown twice. As Toonami censored and then on Midnight Run uncensored. Endless Waltz was only shown censored. But even for a censored show, they really pushed the limit of what they could get away with. And I
oh
think
yeah,
if you weren't around in the 90s, this idea of I mean, sure, we change Angel of Death to Bringer of Destruction, but we still, and Mary Maya doesn't explode blood out her back when she gets shot, but Mary Maya still gets shot in the chest.
yeah.
yeah.
And they clearly make out she is dying. They do a discretion shot for the other shot when the other guy gets shot. He is still shot and he is still dead. That for as a kid
I
in the
mean,
90s, that was so rare because I remember when I saw some bits that like, oh, he's going to come back. No, 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 he's dead, dead.
No, he's
and they
gone.
do some intense stuff with like Quattro specifically as a character. Like
Oh,
he gets put through the ringer
yes,
as a
but
like it's crazy. And then when you understand, like, going into the technical stuff about how like the Zero computers work in tandem with like the Gundam pilots and what it actually does to them psychologically, it's heavy stuff.
I mean,
It
one of my
yeah.
favorite lines from this film is very early on when they're sort of listening to the new president of the Earthsphere speak, and then they go, "He's very smart for someone elected democratically." Like it's such an offline, but for a kid in the 90s, that was not something you'd hear on a kids' TV show.
Mm,
If you had internal politics, it was fantasy and it was evil king laughing, twirling his stash, and then
Yeah.
heroic good guys. That was the hero saying, "Yeah, this guy's a bit weird." And like, "Oh, we're suddenly morally grey."
Well, yeah, it's also the point where like Gundam is allowed to be cynical. It
yeah.
really wasn't, at least overtly, up until this point. I mean, you could make the argument with like Char's Counterattack. Does Char's Counterattack come out before? Either way, my uh
Americans certainly hadn't seen it.
I mean, I'd
there
make the argument with 8th MS team having like it has positive moments in it, but 8th MS team has some really deep cynicism around the whole war is hell thing because that is the not to get super nerdy on everyone, but that is around the end of when the conflict is happening on Earth,
yeah.
and that 8th MS team like 8th MS team gets gritty in a lot of places, but that also didn't air on during the daylight hours when it did. So
Also, like our big bad isn't taken out by one of our heroes,
He's taken out by a
no,
soldier.
by one of his own.
Yeah.
It's an interesting kind of like subversion of what we expect. And that's why it's one of the many reasons why I like this one so much. It's just so moody and dark and just like, oh my God, you can do this. And for me, that opens up the door to a lot of darker anime that,
yeah.
I wasn't watching before 2000 or any of that. Um, yeah, it's just there's something about it, and even then, like at what point did you find did you ever find a point, because I did, where like all these Gundams being in different universes and different continuities? Because I wasn't really used to that. If it was Gundam, it should all be in the same universe or timeline, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
But this
always
is after
kind
calling
of took it as like
timeline.
Doctor Who, whereas like time only matters when we mention it offhand. It's just a way of, yeah, I never realized they're all different.
It took me a while to realize it, especially when in the case of like Gundam Wing, realizing how separate it was from other pieces. And then you have the pieces that are in the same timeline and the ones that aren't. And then you have G Gundam, which is very much
Its own.
its own thing.
Yeah.
Like
Like,
it's interesting. It's kind of like baby's first multiverse.
yes, yes. It was just kind of like, you can't call it Gundam Wing or you can't call it Gundam. Like, this has nothing to do with this show that I'm familiar with. Like I was saying, I started with G Gundam, so to go from G Gundam to anything else, I'm like, but wait, where's this where's Master Asia? Wait, where does this?
Man, could you imagine the dope fight that you would get if you had the G Gundams in like Wing in Gundam Wing universe. Like how does Death Scythe measure up to like Napoleon Gundam?
Oh, it always reminds me if you've ever had the Super Robot Wars game,
Yeah.
where you go for like they go through the menu and so the guys just like and you get like the like, Type 3 Eva and it's like oh the trains and then you get like this is a robot shaped like a bear. It's like oh great.
Actually, I am going to ask another question. Of the boy band Gundam boys, who is your favorite boy band Gundam boy?
Oh, God, I remember the names.
So
They're
there's
Hero, Duo,
Hero and
Troy,
Duo are the big
Natasha.
ones. Um, Probably. I mean, Hero is just so super stoic, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Which is kind of the deal.
kind of the vibe.
Yeah, it kind of fits the story really well because everything else is so straight-laced and serious. It's like you kind of need that in the protagonist. A goofy protagonist or overconfident protagonist wouldn't really fit as well. So I think Hero kind of fits the bill for boy band level. We're just talking about Endless Waltz, right?
Just Endless Waltz, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be Hero. It'd be Hero.
He's very good. Oh, I'm trying to think. The guy, the blonde with goggles. I enjoyed him and his relationship with
Quattro.
his Quattro. That's it. I enjoyed him and his relationship with the his men on his little ship when they were all going like, "Oh, we're gonna pull around." It's like, "Oh, this is just a
The
strapping young."
the Moganox or whatever.
Yeah, so
Magana.
like the East Asian troopers just for some reason, but they were having a calling him master and thinking, like, "Oh, we'll all die for you, master." No need. I'm just gonna.
Because Quattro's from like a Middle Eastern pastiche country, if I
Yes,
recall
so
correctly.
they have the right outfits for the desert campaign. It's just a bit weird seeing them wearing them in a ship.
Yeah.
Uh,
Like
uh
I
I
love
also just
Tro.
like Sally.
Tro was my boy.
Quatch,
Tro was
Quatch
always
great. Quatch is great. Turns the
Tro was
top.
always
Like
Uh,
you're
that's always
saying, he goes through it, but he turns
he
the
goes
tide.
through it. Quattro gets the shortest end of the stick, in my opinion.
to be fair, the only one I relate to just for Endless Waltz is Wind. Because I like the whole thing of him coming and going, I will like a code name, Wind, for one who puts out fires. Like he's been standing outside that door thinking of this. Like
Yeah.
Hmm.
there's an extended cut where he's just out there thinking, what puts out fires? What puts out fires? I will be fire extinguisher. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
Foam? No.
Water.
Water, not cool
I'll get
enough.
sued by the Avatar people.
Yeah.
Wind
Yeah.
Wind.
it just bursts in. Ah!
By your powers combined, I am Captain Planet. Wu Fei gets to be hard because he is not involved at all.
Wu Fei does very little. Wu Fei, who's also appearing in this film.
Wu Fei very much is the also appearing in this because it's true of the series too. Like Wu Fei is so tangential to the entirety of the plot
Yeah.
until the very end.
He doesn't even get any more in the special edition.
But wait, what do we think of Duo? What do we think of Duo?
Oh, we love
Well,
Duo.
oh, Duo Maxwell.
Duo's
Duo
pretty.
Maxwell. My special shonen boy, you mean? Undereducated karate boy? We love that.
with with his really long hair.
With his braid that was the stuff Dojinshi was made of back in the 90s. Like,
Oh, oh,
Duo is the kind of character that was made to throw a spanner into the works of the entirety of the show. And I love that for him. Even his Gundam is flashy and weird compared to the rest.
I also want to really point out the scene where they punch each other is like the ultimate. Like this is. It's like, oh, have I just opened a BL manga all of a sudden? We're talking about giving each other our best punches, and the preppy one loses. Gosh,
I I'm gonna take you on a internet deep lore
oh,
moment
no.
because Gundam Wing coincided with a lot of people getting internet in their homes. And what happens when people get their internet in their homes? They put stuff on the internet because this was the beginning of stuff like Angel Fire websites and geosites and LiveJournal. So you would get people finding Gundam Wing stuff from Japan or like importing it or scanning it in and not knowing what it was until they got a little too deep. And then it would be like, oh no, this is just Dojinshi. This is not official. And that happened a lot for specifically for Hero and Duo. Oh,
But there's a lot of that. If that was the '90s anime, you'd find so much stuff, and you'd never know, no idea if it was real or not, never that it was official or
mhm.
not. Including some dodgy translations, which yeah.
Oh, Duo.
Can I say one thing I really do like? I love Mary May's voice actress. She does
Yeah.
that last scene where she has that like moment. and then tries to push through. It's just so well done. Like this is still anime in 2000. You do not expect that quality of voice acting. I mean, it's just brilliant. Like just so well done for a character who is not the deepest either. She is a bit shallow, like not really that well done.
But there is a lot of really cool that I what I love about Endless Waltz specifically is the animation in there in the space battles. I think that it looks so good and it still looks good. I think a lot of anime from that time period, you often it doesn't look as great as you remember it, or like even, because we've been talking about Sailor Moon, like it's very much of its time. I think that Endless Waltz more than holds up animation wise,
Oh yeah.
especially in those space segments.
And visually. I will
Yeah.
say I love this era of Gundam because it has the 80s sort of 80s approach technology of the more buttons something has, the better it is. And it works so well here because every action you're seeing people reaching around to do things, they really capture how these are just 1,000-pound heavy suits of armor that are cumbersome, that can crush things. It really shows off their destructive power and sort of makes them feel it's a very intimidating thing.
Yeah. Metal on metal. Kind
Oh,
of there was so we had mentioned a couple episodes ago, Toonami did their own music videos. There was one that was based on just robots that
Yeah.
basically had clips from Big O, but also clips from like Gundam Wing. And it's just like it's clear that the people that were running Toonami at the time loved mecha anime. And and when they got Endless Waltz, you can tell they were probably doing so much coke in the office. Celebratory.
Celebratory Coke.
oh yeah. I mean, yeah. If you read the interviews, which we'll get into when we do Wing, all the guys behind it are just like so excited. They talk about Wing all the time. It's
Oh,
amazing. If you want the Battle Rich Army, you will find all sorts of stuff from Gundam Wing because they're just always willing to talk about it. It's like, oh, neat.
yeah.
And I remember Gundam Wing being especially when Endless Waltz was going to be shown, I remember the bumps from that time period. Like there was so much advertising that went into Gundam Wing, Endless Waltz. Like Tom was talking about it the entire time, and I remember being a kid and being hyped to see Endless Waltz. I had the same thing with like all the Dragon Ball Z movies too, where it'd be like, "Mom, sorry, we're not going to talk right now. I'm co-opting the TV. I did my chores. We're good." Like, and I remember doing that a bunch of times
Yeah.
because of stuff like Endless Waltz. Like that was
Also, Endless
so.
Waltz. Well, Endless Waltz, like the DBZ movies, felt like events.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh, they made mo Dragon Ball Z movies. I can watch a feature-length adventure. How does it tie into the continuity? Don't worry about that. Don't
Don't
worry
worry
about
about it.
I
That's
think
not
it's
the point.
it's important to mention these feel like events because there were not other ways of getting them.
it. Yeah.
Stuff, yeah, I know it seems silly to say it now, but we didn't have streaming. And the only way to get this stuff otherwise would be through importers. And unless you had the connections or knew people who tape traded, you just didn't do it. And even if you would, it was expensive. Importing a VHS from Japan cost hundreds of dollars. And your mom isn't letting you contact that guy in Yahoo Japan to buy his Gundam tapes.
No, it's interesting too to talk about the change in cultural footprint that anime has across the world. Because I remember being a kid and one of my best friends for my entire life, like me and Cassie have known each other for 23 years now. The thing that brought us together was anime. And but we didn't have a lot of people who were very interested in it. It was such a niche hobby. And nowadays, like I was walking on, I think on 23rd Street, and there's a Goku ramen in Manhattan. There's a bunch of Naruto ramens. Like the amount of anime and manga cultural capital now that exists in America and in the West in general is insane. Like you have Michael B. Jordan doing Naruto clothing tie-ins. You have Megan the Stallion having Yuji's voice actor intro one of her songs. It's important to remember that at this time period, anime was so niche as a hobby, and it took a while to find other people who were interested in it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and yeah, it's why these movies were rare. These weren't being. And again, it's because Wing was so popular. People wanted to see what these characters did next. And it was presented as sort of the true ending. But I think it's also something else wasn't really as big of a deal at the time. And it was very rare for like a series to end and then have a movie to be like, oh, here's another ending. But usually a series ended and the series ended.
The other
Yeah,
exception I can think of at that time, contemporary to this, Cowboy Bebop got its own movie after
Yeah.
the series, which, of course, given the way the series ends, was like, well, this happens before episode 25. Like, oh, okay.
oh yeah,
Like,
Cowboy
oh,
Bebop, Spike is totally fine. Stop questioning it.
yeah. This is why he's alive and in one piece, and here's Cowboy Bebop the movie knocking on heaven's door. Enjoy. And
totally
not
enjoy.
only he's
He's
gonna rip
totally
off an
fine.
entire fight scene on a train, and that'll be it.
Yeah,
Yeah. I do feel a bit bad this movie, I think, could do with being an extra 10, 15 minutes long.
Yeah.
I am very impressed. I think he does a really good job because when going into this, I said, I'm not going to rewatch Wing for this. I want to see how it holds on its own. And he does a really good job as a standalone piece. I
Yeah.
just think there are some scenes that maybe needed a bit of establishing or jumping to, like how they go, how the colony information gets spread around at the colony drop. Everyone seemingly learns this from somewhere. Some of those are because of the OVA and the special edition. Special edition at least adds a scene. Actually, let's bring that up. There's a bit in this where they go, "Oh, I didn't get Hero's message." This makes no sense in the Toonami version because the bit where Hero says, "I will send you a message" is only in the special edition. In the
Yeah.
OVAs, they haven't talked. So why are they waiting? It's a bit dodgy, but it's one of those films. It's so good you don't realize it until after. Like, wait, how did they know that?
Yeah. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. It's
Brilliantly done.
yeah. It's for me, this is like if you had to give somebody Gundam anything, and obviously they didn't want to commit to an entire series, it's like, oh, just watch Endless Waltz, and you'll then after this, if you don't get it, you don't get Gundam. Like
yeah.
this is your litmus test right here. Because I do think it stands on its own because I wasn't that well versed in Wing when I first saw it, and it's the fight scenes like we were saying were still great. Characters were moody and sexual, and the atmosphere was there. It was
Yeah,
it was just a good time.
the plot told a very
Moody
good
and
story.
Sexual is Moody and Sexual is the name of my Depeche Mode cover band.
Yeah.
Yeah, it told a great story. It had a nice ending. I don't think we get enough credit for that ending sequence with when he comes with the gun to shoot her. How
Yeah,
they set that up, because obviously in other films I would say him, oh, it's empty, but it counts.
Yeah.
But would be a cop out, but they set it up so you don't know if it's loaded or not.
Yeah.
It's you could believe either way. So and it's that sort of moment of gasping. You're like, oh, is he actually going to do it?
yeah.
That threat is a red when that threat has weight. And you actually go, most times when I see that kind of thing, I go, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, you've saved the hero boy. Well done. You can merch him now. But there it felt like, oh, that's actually a decision he made, and he made very consciously to not have a loaded gun. So yeah, it's just really watch Endless Waltz. It's very, very, very good.
Beautifully done. Available to stream on Crunchyroll. I think you can still get the DVD, but you're also paying like scalped prices for
Yeah, you can get
it.
special edition on DVD. I would say if you are doing it, I would recommend special edition. The
Yeah.
extra scenes just add enough.
And honestly, Gundam is a franchise that has very few points of entry that are very accessible. And I would say Endless Waltz is probably one of the most accessible Gundam points of entry. But
Especially for this era. Like I'd
Yeah.
say
especially,
nowadays, Witch from Mercury's a good place, but yeah, before this, you had nothing
yeah, because
Yeah.
I'm going to throw it out there. It's really hard to jump into Iron-Blooded Orphans without at least a little bit of background, you know?
without
Yeah.
knowing the orphans.
You got to figure out who the orphans are. But I was gonna say speaking of orphans, but that's not true. We have reached our destination, Toonami faithful, and that means it is time to disembark from Toonami Absolution. We thank you again for joining us for our conversation about the shows that made us us and the shows that made you you. And once again, we have been your hosts. My name is Alex,
I'm Sam.
And I'm John.
and we'll see you on our next journey. Bang.